So, what we're going to talk about today is holding conversation. It's a basic skill. Actually, I think it's a lot easier than a lot of people expect it to be because, in essence, you know how to talk, you know how to hold a conversation with friends and family, people that you already know. This is just extending it to a different level, right? You're meeting, it's cold approach, stranger approach. You're going to talk to girls that you don't know yet, but it's essentially the same. I think the biggest limiting factor that rears its ugly head is fear. When people are afraid of going into a situation, they're not yet used to the situation. That causes people to be limited. Guys get very limited in their thinking. They don't act on what they know, they don't exercise whatever options they have in mind, and the conversation at best is choppy and maybe it's rushed and quick. He's talking fast, glossing over or forgetting about topics that he could actually expand on. But all of this is caused by fear. I think fear is the number one thing. Now, it's not like approaching, because if you're approaching a stranger, just the approach, the open and the act of approaching itself is different. It's new. Most people don't do it, right? Unless you're a salesperson or you're used to going up to people. If you're a fundraiser, if that's what you do for work, or in your spare time, you're very used to that. But the open itself, rightfully, causes a lot of fear. Once you work through that, there's tweaking to be done, but a conversation isn't necessarily the same, right? Again, as I said before, you know how to hold a conversation. It's not that different from talking to a regular friend that you see every day, or a coworker, or somebody in your apartment complex. It's no different than that. You're adding a couple cool bells and whistles, a couple tweaks, but it's the same thing. So, step one, number one, the main thing is to get over your fear. The only way to do that is by pushing yourself into uncomfortable situations, forcing yourself to open situations that slightly reside outside of your comfort zone. So if you're used to doing girls by themselves, right, opening girls by themselves, you go open a two set, three set, maybe a mixed three set, right? Two girls with a guy there. Slowly but surely, it's not jumping from opening girls by themselves to tackling the biggest set that you see. That's not going to happen. You do it incrementally, little by little. You push yourself over a number of sessions to be able to step into those situations, to be able to gather your courage, to see that you can handle whatever happens, because random things will happen. But you get the patterns of it, and you see that it's kind of all the same. It doesn't Not much really happens in the big situations that doesn't happen in the little ones. But you have to experience that, and you have to push through that fear. Once you have a hold on that and you do that consistently, you're going to find that filters down into your conversation in those sets and in the other sets. So if you can hold your own in a mixed three set, for example, one big guy there and there's two girls, and you're talking to the girl you like, you're talking to all of them, but obviously you're going back and forth between the girl you like and the rest of the group. Everything else is going to be easy after that. You're not going to run into that many snags in terms of creating conversation if you can handle conversation in that type of scenario, that type of situation. This approach overall is one that a lot of guys overlook because a lot of people in the community are focused on quick, short-term results as opposed to long-term growth, and it comes back to bite them in the ass. Honestly, if you see this as a long-term project, you take your ego out of it, your impatience out of it, you'll grow the best. But not to get on a diatribe about that, but that is the truth. And the second is to recognize the topics that lead in the direction of what you want. So to go from meat to sex, what are the topics that help that? Good dates you've had, bad dates you've had, good dates she's had, and bad ones as well. Exes, as long as it's good, you don't want to complain about somebody you dated or were with for a period of time, right? But maybe she reminds you of this ex who did that, right? So you can say that, you can point that out. Anything romance related, sex related, but later on in the set, because that's where you're headed, right? So dating, romance, sex, and dating in general, you can talk about. Those are the topics that lead you in the right direction. They lead you towards verbally escalating, physically escalating, and getting into a position with her where you guys can consummate that. So keep those 2 points in mind. One is you've got to push your comfort zone in terms of the type of sets that you do, which will trickle down to the everyday average set, the normal set that you run to. And number 2 is dating, romance, sex, anything related to those are good topics to riff on while you're talking to a girl. They help push you, steer you in the right direction. Hope this helps.